Hey everyone, I thought I would put together a quick lesson video to do the song Do You Feel in Control by Avatar. Of course, at least what I think is going on. After seeing them live and seeing a couple of live videos surface where we can see Tim and Jonas's hands and kind of see what's going on, I think I've narrowed it down. So we're going to start by breaking this down into a couple of different sections, okay? So the first things first is the guitar is tuned to B standard. So B standard for the 6 strings. In the first section, it sounds like this. So the very first thing that we're doing there is 2 hits on the low E string, open. And it's not straightforward. It's got a little bit of a swing feel to it, pretty normal for these guys. Now, in between these low E string parts, there's like these trim-picked parts. So the first one is on the 7th fret on the A string. The next one is on the 10th fret on the A string. It sounds like this. That trim-picked part by itself. So once you get up to speed, it's not too crazy, but when you're slowed down, it's a little bit interesting because you're ending on an upstroke. Now, before that next one, on the 10th fret, we change, instead of doing those 2 hits on the low E string, we do 3, triplet, okay? Then you play the 10th fret. It's the 10th fret for the trim pick part is the same pattern. So those first parts all together. Now, going into the ending, you have this 5, 4, 3 on the D string, 5, 4, 3, and then that's going 6, 5, 6 on the A string. But notice I'm hitting each one of those twice, but notice how I'm palm muting the second one. Gets a little bit more of a punchier sound in there. Moving on to the next section, you have this. Now the first part kind of stays the same, except that instead of doing 2 hits when we come back, after doing that little, it's 3. And that whole part stays the same, that trim pick part up to the 10th fret, until now we incorporate the 9th fret on the A string here. And there's 3 hits on the 9th fret on the A string. When they go to that note, it's all just on the A string for the 9th fret. Then the trim pick part stays the same. But then we go down to the 6th fret on the A string. And then the 9th fret on the A string. So 6th fret on the A string, 9th fret on the A string. Okay, so that little section all together. All right, then that takes us into the next part. Okay, now that whole first part kind of stays the same like the intro. 2 hits on the open low E string with that swing feel. And then alternate picked that, the trim pick part on 7 and then up to 10. But then, so there's 3 hits on the low E string right before going into 5, 4, 3 on the D string. And then we transfer the pointer finger down to 3, 2, 1 on the low E string. And when we hit those, I'm palm muting the second. We're hitting each one of those 2 times. 3, 2 times, 2, 2 times, and 1, 2 times. And I'm palm muting the second one of those. I love that part of the song. Now, that kind of goes into the walk-up part. I tried doing some searching on how they were doing that walk-up part, but I think it's this, at least for Tim's part. So that's going 3 on the low E string, 1, 2, 3 on the A, and I'm hitting the 3rd fret on the A string there when I get there, 3 times total. Again, kind of accenting that first hit. Then, after that, it's 1, 2, 1 on the D string, and then the open A string. So all that together. Then this part. 3 on the A string, 6 on the A string, and then 7 on the A string, before finally walking up to that power chord on the A and the D string. And I think he sometimes covers the root note in there, but it's on the 8th fret on the A string and the low E string, and then the 10th fret on the D string. And you have this rhythm. So a hit on the chord and then 2 palm muted hits. That little section. I also love that part of the song. I love all their songs, so who am I kidding? So the next part, we have this little section. So that first part of it, we've got 2 palm muted hits on like an E power chord before hitting it open, so like that. All right, so 3 hits on the E power chord, but that first one, there's that little hesitation in there, the little swing sort of thing. Okay, then after that part, you could either just grab the 3rd fret on the low E string, or to get a little bit more oomph in there, you could grab the full power chord for the G power chord, which is the pointer finger on the 3rd fret on the low E string, and then the ring and the pinky on the A and the D string on the 5th fret. Like that, either way works. So, and I do just a slight bend to get some more sass in there. So, back to the E power chord there after that chord. Then you have this little transition part. It's going 7, 6, 5 on the low E string, so that's 7, 6, 5, and they're muted, or well, not completely muted, obviously, but palm muted. And then these octave chords, which is just me with the pointer finger on the A string on the 6th fret, and then my pinky on the G string on the 8th fret, and you're just doing this pattern with those. So just going from 6 and 8 on those 2 strings, the A string and the G string, down to 5 and 7, back up to 6 and 8. Okay, so now on the album, he goes up to the E octave, but live I've also seen him go down back to the power chord too. So then I believe on the cover I did the octave version for the next part doing this. but live it hits a little bit different with both of them just playing open strings there, or just single string notes. For Tim's part, he's playing this. So a little bit of dissonance in there, which is awesome. The open G string, and then you add the pointer finger on the 4th fret on the D string, and then the pinky or the ring on 6 on the A. And then you go back to the 4th fret on the D. And it sounds like on the record he either goes back to the low E chord shape there. But live, like, I think he did something cool with moving up that shape. So that's just moving the shape from 4 and 6. So 4, 6. Moving that shape up to 5 and 7. So the pointer finger's now on the 5th fret on the D string. The pinky's on 7 on the A. And when you slide up, you kind of still have that pointer finger ringing out. So then I've seen him hit the A, the E string, and then the B and the high E string open. Sounds really cool up at tempo 2. Okay, then another power chord grab there on the G power chord to the E power chord, which again, that's just the pointer finger on the 2nd fret on the A string, and you're just hitting the E and the A string together. That's it. Then you have this outro. So we're doing the octave chord thing there again, but instead of, I know we did 7, 6, 5 on the E string before, but for this part, the second ending part, we're actually going, I believe it's 8, 7, 6 on the low E string, palm muted. Then we go to those octave chords, and that is pointer finger on the low E string on the 7th fret, pinky on the 9th fret. Moving that shape down a half step, just going to, so we were on 7 and 9, then we go down to 6 and 8, and then 5 and 7, and then finally 3 and 5. So then this cool ending. Just a tad bit of vibrato. Now their vibrato is pretty incredible, so it makes this cool waves sort of sound. Like that. So that first part is on 7 on the A string, and then is 6, 7, 6 on the A string, so palm muted. And then we walk down to the 3rd fret on the A string. And then that ending part, you could do that a couple different ways. I like to keep it stretchy, but so that's going 3, 5, 7 on the A string. You could also do it like this. 3, 5 on the A string and 2 on the D string. Same thing. So that end part all together. Before ending on the open A string. So just because there's tons of sections in the song, I'm going to play through all of it at a slow tempo so you guys can get a good idea of what it sounds like all together. So hopefully you guys dig that. If you guys have any questions or anything like that, please feel free to leave a comment, like, subscribe. Hope to see you guys in the next video. Y'all take care.